Hi there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan. We're looking at a 2001 Volkswagen Polo GTI. This is a really rare car here in Japan. This generation of Polo almost doesn't exist. The GTIs I've never personally seen before, and so this is really special, especially since I'm a Lupo GTI owner. Right there. And this is basically a trial run for the Lupo GTI, or maybe they decided to make the Lupo GTI after this in order to improve on it or whatever. Size wise, this is a 4-door but smaller than a Mark IV Golf or Mark V Golf. Smaller inside, smaller outside, and lighter weight. This is about 1,050 kilograms, so about the same as a Corolla Fielder or a contemporary Civic of the same era. Comes with a 1.6 liter 16 valve engine, same as in the Lupo GTI. And I swear, this is one of the most fun 16 valve 1.6s that I've driven, because it's unlike any of the Japanese ones in that it doesn't have a ton of power up in the RPM range. Most of its power comes kind of mid-range at around 3,000 RPM, and so it feels stronger and more peppy than a typical 1.6 would. And it makes it for a really fun runabout car. We have 37,543 kilometers on the odometer. And we'll check the condition of this car and compare it to the auction inspection sheet. Yes, this was bought from auction here in Japan. And we're going to be exporting this one, I believe, to Canada. Let me just check. Yeah, to Canada. So I grew up in Canada, and I know how cool it is to be part of the Volkswagen crowd and to have something that nobody else has. And this is going to be one of those cars. I absolutely adore this. I think it's very cool looking. I love the engine. It's a 5-speed manual. It's going to be a fun little car in Canada. You're going to get lots of Volkswagen people following you home and asking to put your car onto their YouTube channel. Not much else to say here. The coolant and the oil both look fine. Okay. Now the Polo later, I think this is the 3rd generation or something, the 4th or the 5th generation, you ended up getting the 1.8T engine, which is a faster engine and more capable for tuning. And it is a great car, but I think there's no denying the naturally aspirated fun of a car like this. And those are original BBS wheels. Lightweight wheels make a big difference in a lightweight car. So let's have a look at the inspection sheet here. I'll quickly translate this. Anything in yellow is kind of what I considered more severe damage, so I'll point those out as well as everything else. It's a 2001 Volkswagen Polo GTI, auction grade 3.5, interior and exterior RC, 37,466 kilometers. We checked the history of this, and whenever you register your car in Japan, it gets put into the history books, the mileage, and everything lined up. But I have to say, a couple of things made me a little bit worried. For one, the floor mat has a rip in it where your brake foot goes, and a rip in the side carpet where your clutch foot goes. Those are things that usually you see with a higher mileage car. Could be he had really abrasive shoes. Also, the door handle here is very scratched up, and it's actually cracked up here, and this piece is loose. When you pull it, it actually flexes a little bit, so that needs to be replaced. You can probably find parts from Europe fairly easily through like an eBay, European eBay, to replace that. This is made out of a plastic with a rubberized finish on it that tends to not act very well with the very extremely high humidity here in Japan. It was 26 degrees this morning with 92% humidity, which was insane. And it kind of hurts a lot of Euro cars. And once it gets all soft from the humidity, it can be scratched just with a fingernail so easily. So you'll see that on Maseratis and BMWs and Mercedes and Volkswagens and Audis and a lot of European cars, along with the saggy headliner, which is something else that I'm going to point out here. Highly saggy, very common for Euro cars to do this. So some people in Japan put staples in and just staple it back up as a quick fix, because it can be pretty hard to replace a headliner, unfortunately. Anyways, let's get back to this. It's original silver. It's a one-owner car, authentic mileage at 38,000 kilometers. And yes, we did check the registration history of that, and everything does line up. Unfortunately, it didn't come with any history papers other than the first time that it was inspected in 2001 December. Okay, HID headlights, BBS wheels, 5-speed manual transmission, and power steering, power windows, original alloy wheels, airbag. cars coming, so let me get out of the way and bow to that guy. Okay, comes with the owner's manual, warranty papers are going to be sent to the owner. I don't know exactly how it compares to the Lupo. Here's my take on it. The rear seats are smaller in this than the Lupo, but the trunk is twice the size. And then physically, it is longer. I feel like the Lupo is better packaging. This one looks more like your standard car. Lupo looks just like this, with like a foot less, but like almost no overhang in the rear and a slightly shorter wheelbase. I prefer the looks of the Lupo, but I can't deny that any Volkswagen that you never see on the road is going to be very popular. You'll probably get one of these for cheaper than a Lupo too. Like one with this mileage for a Lupo, you're probably looking at $8,000. And I can't say the price of this, I'm sorry. Anyway, windshield rock chip, which is nothing that I would worry about. They're oftentimes really hard to find, but I just found it. It's right here. Can you see that? Okay. What else do we have? Steering wheel wear, seat wear, wheels scratched, door mirror scratched. Headliner is saggy, rear hatch damper doesn't work, and interior liner is peeling or coming loose. Okay, here we have A2, AU2, AU2. So all of these little bits here are dents. And then an AU4 over here, which is a fairly large one. So I'll show you those in a second. For now, let's do a once around so you can see. And gosh, it is a gorgeous little car. It's funny because something like this is just your standard runabout car in Europe, but to a market like Canada that never got the Polo, or at least never got the Polo in this generation, it really is something special to have a car that was never released in your market. And there is a swap kit if you did want to swap in a 1.8T. And yes, I have looked into that for my Lupo. I don't know how difficult it would be. Okay. Now the dashboard and the interior is pretty much the same as the Lupo, and I dig it. It's simple, it's stylish, and it looks fairly modern. I think Volkswagen did a good job for this era of their cars. Okay, front end has a kind of a Mark IV look to it, but of course has headlights that nobody's ever seen before in Canada. These are the second generation headlights, so the late model. I don't think there was an early model GTI, and I tried to find out the production number of these because I've never seen one before, and I read that there were 3,000 for the UK or 3,000 for Europe is what I read. Don't know how true that is. I don't know how many of these are made for other markets. But the GTI 3,000 for all of Europe is very small numbers. Oh, and some of my favorite seats ever. Check it out. I guess it's kind of racing inspired. I'm going to be first place. It has like an arrow pointing toward the direction that you want to go when you want to win a race. And number one, which is the ideal position for that race. They're pretty standard Volkswagen seats structurally, but I love that print on them. And I love that the same print is on the back seats. So you can still get first place as a backseat driver. Very, very cool. And I think that that's going to be uniquely adored by people who like Volkswagens. Okay, now the auction inspection sheet says interior liner is peeling. Every door card is doing this, and it looks like it might be the same thing, an issue with humidity. There's like a very thin vinyl that is stretched over a paper fiber, and it has just started to peel, and it's peeling in a lot of places. So right here, down here, it looks like it would be DIY repairable, but you can see it from outside of the car every time you get in, which is kind of annoying. It's on the back seats too, right here and right here. I think the glue just gave out. Here's the same thing with the handle is peeling. And look at this, crank style windows, great for lightweight. The Lupo GTI, 975 kilos compared to the 1050 of this. And yes, I had to look that up. So 75 kilos less for the Lupo compared to the Polo. Peeling here. And peeling here. Okay. Now looking at the interior. All right. So dashboard has no issue there. The center stack is pretty normal. Has an MD player, which is very popular in Japan. It didn't really take off in Canada or America. Simple HVAC controls. The AC doesn't work. The fan blows, but nothing cold, which is a bit of a shame, but that happens sometimes. A little bit of wear on here. A little bit of wear on the steering wheel. The gauges, basically this center stack and the gauges are identical to the Lupo GTI. Chrome rings around it, lights up blue like everything else. That was this age. Does it light up blue? I think it does, but I could just be thinking about my car. Let's have a look. Let's listen to that engine again. Yes, blue. And this, you need to replace a bushing in there or short shift kit. Let's get out of this car with the doors closed. It is too hot today. Okay, seating position is fine. The dashboard level is fairly high. Seating position is kind of high compared to a sports car, but it is a GTI. It's standard fare Volkswagen. Big meaty shift knob, feels great to grab. Steering wheel is a little bit skinnier than a typical like a Golf R32 or other GTIs. It feels good in the hand. I always felt like the thicker steering wheels that Volkswagen's kind of known for is a little bit weird feeling, but I guess you can get used to it. It does feel very different. And then the wear here is only on this side here, leading me to believe that it was just sun damage that was hitting it and causing these parts to deteriorate faster, and then throughout driving would wear them off faster because they were pre-deteriorated. Okay. Back seats are tiny. I do not think that most people will fit in them very well. These are dump seats, so they are rigid mounted on the front with a spring, and then the back axle goes up and down, if you want to call it an axle. The back, I don't know what you call it. And then right now it's in the full down and full back position, which is my ideal driving position for this car and many other cars. You don't get a lot of space for feet in here, and although there's a cutout here, it's not that big. So it's actually quite difficult for me to be in the back. It is a subcompact car. You don't buy these cars for rear leg room, but this is probably one of those cars where they're kind of a 3+ seater. Sure, you can sit somebody in here, push that seat forward a bit. Front driver doesn't need that much leg room, and then you can fit someone there. Here is basically nothing more than an emergency seat. And this actually touches your head while you're driving, so something has to happen about that, unless you're fairly short. And yeah, my feet are clicked underneath the seat, so I can't easily get out either. Trunk, probably about 80% the size of a Mark IV Golf. A little bit narrower, a little bit shallower. Still a hatchback, still easy to put stuff in. Bigger trunk in this than many minivans that are 3 rows, if you have the seats in the upright position. Now, it has a little bit of a container here, and I'm not sure what that's for. Okay. Underneath here has a spare Toya 195/45 R15. And yeah, BBS wheels, cool. Cigarette lighter adapter in there. Okay, damages on the car. I usually get to these earlier, and I really should have, but I got distracted because I'm fanboying a little bit. Okay, so front bumper is looking pretty good until we get over here. We got a pretty sizable scuff there. This they call the A3 on the auction inspection sheet. Headlights are nice and clear, which is good to see. Those are plastic, not glass. Okay, this wasn't mentioned on the auction sheet, but there's some paint fade only on the bumper here, and on the plastic piece here on the rain gutter. Okay, this is, I'll just point out all of the damages here, because this was like A2, AU2 and AU2. So there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this, and this Rear bumper has a scuff here. Scratch here. There's a little bit of license plate scratches. None of this is anything. It's just for some reason discolored. And this side here looks really good all the way down. Oh no, this one has that sill damage, but the doors look good, the fender looks good, paint condition looks good. From here until, well, here, so like 80 centimeters, there's a long dent and a scratch. Okay, and it's on original suspension. With those tiny little tires, it's going to feel nippy and good. Not going to be fast, but it's going to be nippy and fun. Good street car, or city car. Okay, that's all for now. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.